Welcome back, everybody. I'm Aaron.
And I'm Aaron.
This is our show, Crypto Cosm, where I talk about how the astrology affects the crypto market.
And we're bringing you what's new in that crypto news.
So,
The end. The end is here.
The end of net neutrality.
It's a sad day for us here in the United States of America.
Five people sat in a room and determined your fate, my fate, his fate, everybody in this room's fate of how we search for the information in the World Wide Web, the history of the library, the encyclopedia of information.
And obtain that information. How fast they have the ability to throttle the internet now, which gives them the ability to speed things up or slow things down,
Right.
Probably based on, let's face it, what's going to be the highest bidder. I mean,
honestly,
that's how America works.
In my household, I do not have cable. I haven't had cable for years and years and years. I don't watch TV. I watch films, right? And we stream stuff. Right, we will stream Netflix or we'll cast, Chromecast the Plex from our own personal, servers to the television. And it's like, we've got a lot of people streaming at different times, and it's just like, man, my household is like primed to get bombarded by this, like, oh, you guys are uploading too much or you're downloading too much. I'm like, man, this sucks.
Man, big time. But hashtag save the net, Substratum is going to be releasing their, I think it's an 8-minute documentary. It's going to be
internet.
on CNN, MSNBC, NBC, all of those certain regular news channels on your regular. I don't have regular TV either. I don't pay for actual cable.
Who does?
I think that's kind of for older generations, especially the millennials now. They're like, well, we can get it faster when we want, et cetera, et cetera.
And get what I want. I don't have to sit, I don't need, pro golf channels and all the ESPNs. I'm not a sports guy. I don't need that stuff. I can just Cartoon Network.
I don't need to pay to watch 50% commercials when I'm sitting there watching TV. And I think, we're getting that. We're starting to see that thing in YouTube now, and the monetization, and then that's what's happening. You didn't see that in the very beginning of YouTube. I think they said that it's pretty much on like a 7-year cycle of when a startup company goes. After they've reached that 7-year point, like YouTube and Facebook, then the ads come. That's the point when individuals have basically saturated the market, gotten used to using that app, and then they're like, okay, we can do whatever we want,
Right.
and we're still going to make billions of dollars off of everybody that's going to use it because they're not going to think about anything else, any other options.
It's like when you're getting a relationship and the other one lets themselves go because they're getting comfortable.
It's that 7-year
kind of like
itch.
that, yeah.
Just the 7-year
Like,
itch.
you're just getting.
I'm married.
fuzzy.
I don't need to do anything anymore.
Right.
Yeah, that's kind of how it is. They get married to it and they don't really think about anything else. Well, this is just what I've always used, and
Right.
that's.
Well, thank God there's options now. I mean,
We do have
personally,
options.
we all, we all use Instagram and Facebook, and it's just like, and unless you're one of these days that like makes the public announcement, I am getting rid of my social media for my own self-cleansing. It's just like, oh, you mean you don't know how to like set the tool down? You don't carry your hammer on with you everywhere you go, friends. You just pace yourself. Anyway,
It's like the diet plan. They're like, I'm not going to do it for 30 days.
Well,
for
if
30
I just
days.
avoid looking at mirrors, then I won't
start getting the shakes. They're just like, I don't know if I could do it. And like 7 days later, you're like, I knew it. I knew you couldn't do it. I'm sorry.
No, it's good. I mean, that's the idea, though. So nonetheless, I cannot stand the algorithm of however it does it, and like. Honestly, I like staying connected with people, and it's something that the world needs. Like, it was funny. So one of my friends just put this like, "Hey, I'm deleting all social media. Here's my phone number and email." It's like, well, if you're gonna delete this, why not delete those too? If you're gonna go in the jungle by yourself or off to the woods, it's like, dude, this is just a tool.
Just live under a rock.
But nonetheless, we're having options these days because the things that we have that are currently there, they're letting themselves go, and they're doing weird stuff with it and throwing off the timeline. Like, it's like, oh. Come visit me at work. It's like, oh, this was 4 days ago. What the?
So let's talk about those options really quick. I mean, what? So we have for the internet Up and coming now, we have Substratum. Now, there's a couple other ones out there, like I think Chain Block and Dot Press. There's a few other alternative internets that are being born now, especially due to blockchain technology.
New internet.
The biggest of which I believe is Substratum. I mean, they've really made a great presence. The social media following is fantastic. I've seen posts from individuals that are like, I'm going under the knife. I will be in the hospital. Please, if Substratum Beta goes live, let me know so I can start setting up my node while I'm in the hospital. And I was like,
determination.
Way to commit, soldier. Way to commit. And that's some of the things that we're seeing. I mean, we've got some major diehards out there rooting for Substratum. So Substratum is this decentralized node system of all of these individuals are allowed to connect via each other. Now, that would forego the need of having to go to an internet service provider or an ISP like Comcast,
AT&T, wow.
AT&T. So we would be broadcasting our signals to and from each other now. So we wouldn't need these other individuals. So we have to do this. Now Substratum has gotten through their alpha testing. Actually, they blew through their alpha testing and got done, I think, a month early. And they were like, time to get ready for the beta. I think they let 2,000 individuals into their beta plan, and they're having fantastic results. Fantastic results. Now, their mainnet launch is coming up very close. It was going to be shortly after the actual abolishment. Such a harsh word. I don't even like saying it.
Abolished.
At least in this case, of net neutrality. Now, they don't have an exact date. I know. It hits you right there.
It needed to happen though because we need to open these doors for the new for the future. You know what I mean? Some doors got to close for a window to open. That's just how it is.
That's absolutely right.
And we're going to a new, better future.
I love it.
A new, better internet. Do you watch Silicon Valley?
Yes, I do.
I love that show. And when I was like, I think the new internet when I think of Substratum, and it's just like I don't know. I always kind of like think
and
about.
It's not just going to be the box. Was that the
the Galvin Bells and the D box?
The box.
Tune in, it's a good show. Check it out.
Fantastic.
You probably already do. You Silicon Valley, yeah, you're hip to it, you know.
But so besides Substratum, so we have these other applications out there that, and I think because of the Substratum movement, it's going to make people more aware of decentralization as a whole.
Yeah.
I mean, we have Open Bazaar, which is a fee-free platform, decentralized, where users can, or customers can sell things online to each other. We don't need this big giant corporation in the middle saying, well, I need a piece of that.
Right.
And that's really where, the decentralization movement is all about. So we have Open Bazaar. So that's going to, go up against the eBay and the Amazon. So we have, what else? So on the social media platforms, we've got Steemit.
Love Steemit.
Steemit gave birth to DTube. The decentralized YouTube. So in this instance, we have issues with a lot of individuals coming up saying, oh, well, they took down our content. And they won't let us air this, that, and the other because of, one that my kids watch. The name escapes me right now, but it's all centered around kids. He's got 4 or 5 kids, and some of the things that I think there were some fart noises on one of them. Or it was a game involving throwing turds. Something to the fact
Sounds
where
fun.
they were like, yeah, absolutely. But they were like, no, you can't show this. We got to take it down. And he was like, are you kidding me?
There's a child's book called Everybody Poops.
Right. Like, who cares? You know what?
We all poop.
It's on the parents to decide. And parents, if you're not watching your kids on YouTube, well, I mean, who knows what they're watching? They're probably on your account that says they're over 18. And you know what? That's your problem. Like, parent people.
And that's the cool thing as well. Like, well, let's jump on that. There's 2 sides of that coin. And when we're getting into DTube and LBRY, these are both YouTube style on the blockchain, but you can put anything on there you want.
Anything you want.
So on the good side of that, you're not going to be censored. On the flip side of that, we're most likely going to be seeing live stream porn happening on it as well. It's going to happen. Somebody's going to do it. Let's not lie. You know, I mean,
Absolutely.
It's not, teach their own, you know, like whatever it is. But, you know, you're talking about watch your kids now. If it's not okay to, you know, everybody poops. But, you know, if that content's not good, you're not paying attention, it's about to get a lot heavier.
You know, we wouldn't have any shadows if there wasn't any light. We're going to get both sides of the coin. So on one side over here, you got pros and cons. And on the other side over here, you're going to have pros and cons. It's going to be a matter of being able to utilize these tools, because that's what they are. They're tools for the best of both worlds. And for the individuals that can do that, hey, more power to you. But it's, you know, 6 one way, half a dozen the other. There's definitely going to be pros and cons to both sides. So on the social media aspect, more so, we have Mastodon, which is
Super sweet.
Facebook style. But, you know, we've really seen in the social media world, like on Twitter, Facebook, the attack on the crypto world in specific. No, you can't advertise. I mean, if they see a Bitcoin and what's the word where you recognize the picture in the photograph?
I mean, any sort of facial recognition, image recognition, word. And if you have if you have coin, if you have crypto, and anything. Now, the funny thing is I woke up this morning to a friend request from April, who is on Facebook. She is, you know, it's like her job. It's the description from this friend. Just April, no last name. I'm like, how did you even get that? Of course, you work for Facebook. And as I click on this picture of like, who is this April, this friend requesting me? Because now I'm getting a lot of crypto people, which is totally sweet. But her account was crypto. So I'm like, here it is. You work for Facebook, allegedly. But whether you do or don't, but it's just like, that's the kicker. It's just like, this is a platform for socializing. Cryptocurrency is a very real thing in this world, and Facebook and Instagram just want to shut it out. I mean, we know there's a ton of scams, but there's a ton of scams across everything. I mean, that's something we've been talking about since day one of the show. There's scams on everything. There's, you know, like there's fake Banksies out there. You know, you pay $600,000. It's like, they don't care. They don't care. I could sell fake Banksies all day long on my YouTube account or my Facebook account, not my YouTube account. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, but we're going to crack down on this. Let's just get away from it, you know?
So, Mastodon. Now, because we've seen all these recent advances, Google, Twitter, all blocking these ads, you know, we're having things like Mastodon. Now, Mastodon is a decentralized Facebook platform where you can connect to all of these different self-hosted servers all over the place and advertise freely. And you can put on there what you want now. The biggest problem is because it's still in its early development. We've really stumbled upon the problems just recently, I think in the past couple years, where they're starting to crack down things and we're starting to realize it. Now Google's not going to show any crypto-related ads whatsoever. Well, if they're not going to show any crypto-related ads, what else are they going to not show? Because they have, it's a hazard to your health or whatever it might be.
Even if the laws change. I mean, I don't know the proper word for it, but like the free the nip, that law passed a year ago where it was no longer illegal for women's nipples to be online. But Facebook and Instagram still delete it. They still delete the content. Although
Man of so much wisdom.
Well, I mean, it was a very widely known thing. And I mean, it's something that, you know, the sisters out there in the world, it's just like, yeah, they feel oppressed. Like, look, you can walk around shirtless, but I can't. It's just like, okay, well, that law is now changed. But on social media, nope, it's still illegal. And it's just like, okay, well, who's deciding the law? Who's deciding this? Mark Z?
And whatever happened to freedom of speech? Like, I can't go out and say anything that I want to. Now I'm starting to be...
We can't share this show.
Can't be blocked. And it's... I mean, we got it better than a lot of places around here and around the world, and we see things from our own...
perspectives,
universal lens here, so to speak. But I mean, it's really infringing on and changing.
And it's almost like the Second Amendment. You know, we're talking about gun control and all this. And it's like I look at gun control in a similar sense of Facebook. It's just like, well, it exists. You know, we can't just wipe it off the face of this earth right now. But it's like it's a tool. But there's a time and a place for it. You don't need to, whatever.
So on another side of this coin, actually some thoughts that came to me before the show. So we have now these two worlds. We have the centralized world and we have the decentralized world. From the other perspective of this massive split, we have these, I'm going to take Netflix. I'm going to pick on Netflix for a little bit. So the throttling. So everybody out there has seen, well, if you have this phone company, then you get to stream Netflix all you want for free. Because we just want to program the hell out of people. They're just all about that. And I'm definitely guilty of that as well. I'll binge Netflix all day. But now we go on Substratum. Now, Substratum's claim to fame is you can access anything out there also on the World Wide Web. Well, what happens if Netflix goes, well, if you don't have an internet service provider, we're not going to provide service to you. We're going to make you have a Comcast or have an Amazon, and it's a facet that most people may overlook until that time actually comes, where all these individuals are now, coming over to this side, and they're like, well, you can't use our services unless you're paying these big old companies the money that we deserve, et cetera, et cetera. Because it's going to kill. I mean, the cable companies, in respect to TV, have gone way downhill since the evolution of the internet and media sharing.
In 2001, 2002, I think, was 2002, I think, was the streaming of Netflix. I mean, I remember in 2001 when they were doing it might have been 2003 even, but 2001 when they were giving away these little packets, here's a free month trial, and it was only, mailing back and forth. And it was like, it did so, but that's not what put Blockbuster and Family Video and Mammoth Video out of business. It was the streaming, you know. And right now, that's huge for the internet companies because that's what they need. They need you to pay for that streaming. And now it's like you got this, this wild card over here, Substratum, and they're like, well, we're going to change the way that this old dinosaur brick and mortar exists.
That's right.
And it's going to ruffle feathers. It's going to shake the pot, and which is a good thing because we need to let these bigger fish in the ocean know that these little guys can pack some heat. It's like a little blowfish, a little puffer fish. It's like, oh, you just thought it was this little thing, but no. And it's just like the powers in the people. When we all start getting together, and if we all leave, it's going to force them to take action. Which is the great thing.
It's going to make things change.
The forcing them into action, absolutely.
So, and not only that, it's going to also create opportunities on the decentralized. If the centralized go, well, if you're not using our internet service providers, you can't have our services. Well, that's going to open up a lot more opportunities on the decentralized saying, well, guess what? We're the decentralized Netflix. Or we're the decentralized this, that, or the. I mean, the opportunities are going to just be doubled. It's really interesting to see what the evolution of and what the outcome is actually going to be from because it's going to create the competition
which didn't exist. So it's like if this didn't happen, and the funny thing is, it's right before we just talked about, the net neutrality issue. I was saying, Aaron, that was a serious aspect of astrology that day. It was Mercury and Venus. Okay, Mercury's our information planet. Venus is our money planet, and they met exactly together, like 21 degrees of Sagittarius. Okay, Sagittarius is education, higher learning. It's the information of the world that's out there. It's the fire sign that's all about information. So it's like you have the trading of goods planet and the money planet in the sign of information. And what happens?
And who won?
Money. Money won this. Money won. And 5 people. 5. That's why I get excited about this. Like, seriously, 5 people. That's not 5 versus how many?
Millions.
And we gave it to them. We gave them that power. So now it's time to take it back.
Well, I'm glad this is all really happening at the same time. It couldn't have been more perfect. And when the actual news comes out to how you can set up a substratum node, believe you me, we will set up a whole episode. So anybody out there that wishes to partake and help that movement can definitely do so. I mean, they'll have all the videos as well, but it's just something that I personally feel needs to be brought to as many people as possible. And keep your eyes out on, I'm really surprised that CNN and NBC and NBSN and NBC, ABC, all those letters, news shows are going to be showing the 8-minute documentary. That really
That
kind of
is interesting.
blew me away that all those news stations that are controlled by, those parties.
The cable companies.
Are now allowing this to come through. That really made me scratch my head personally. But it's going to be really interesting. Maybe it's just for the ratings. Who knows? I don't know.
I mean, it's going to help them, but it's going to hurt them at the same time. Like a lot of people are going to tune in, but a lot of people are going to be like, yeah, bye.
See ya.
Yeah.
Time to switch over.
Absolutely. And it's needed. It's
needed. And the people are going to be needed for it to work. And
we need you. We need us. We need all of us to get together. Tell your mom, tell your grandma, tell your dad. Substratum. Switch over. Throw a 20 at Bitcoin and whatever. Come on. It's like if you're not having these conversations with your family at this point, it's like we got to spread the education. That's what it's coming down to is it's education and informing everybody. People are going to hear, people are going to, gossip and whisper about this is this, and it's too volatile. And Well,
that's because those individuals that aren't in it yet aren't in it. Once they are, it'll be smooth sailing. So the transition is always shaky when something's being brought up. I mean, it's literally destroying everything around it as it's growing up through the middle. Everybody's like, oh my gosh, it's shaking everything around it. But what they don't see is the giant tree in the middle that's bearing fruit, giving things to everybody.
Right.
They're all worried about what they used to have and can't see what they're getting from it. So it's just interesting to kind of keep that mindset. And the solutions are coming as the questions are being asked. Absolutely.
Yeah, talk about it. And talking about these solutions, create the solutions. That's how all of this got done. We have a problem. We hit a brick wall. We need a solution. Mm-hmm. That's the epitome of why the blockchain exists right now. That's the epitome of why Steam exists. That's the epitome of why Substratum exists. Why, all of these, every company, Coinbase was created out of a need of necessity. Ethos, all of these companies are created out of necessity. And you don't know you necessarily need something until you really talk about it. Get those lines of communication open. People are going to hate. People are going to hate. So what? Talk about it. Talk about it. Listen to them. Listen to why they hate it. That's a really key thing. Listen to why somebody is so against Bitcoin or why someone's so against or for whatever. Just listen, because then there's a lot of keys and evidence, answers in what they're going to have to say. Well, maybe that's going to create a new solution over here.
Speaking of, that gives me a great idea. I think somebody out there, because I don't really want to do it, but it'd be a great idea to make the individuals that are like, well, I can't see it, I can't touch it, I can't feel it. I'm like,
the radio waves, man.
Give them a Bitcoin and just put the barcode inside the Bitcoin. They just carry their one little coin around in their pockets. The only coin that they'll ever need. That
put
way
on a little key thing.
We don't need any chips in the head. We can entice them in. Just give them that little metal Bitcoin. Put it right on there. You can just wave it like a magic wand, like the mobile speed pass. It's the mobile Bitcoin pass, and I think it'll at least give somebody, something to grab
on a lighter leash. That's what they need. The Bitcoin on a lighter leash.
There
so you just pull it out and then you let go and zips right back in. Zips right back in.
$7.99 at your local gas station. All right, here we go.
We got a paragraph today. Get ready.
Perhaps all the dragons in our lives are princesses. Who are only waiting to see us act just once with beauty and courage. Perhaps everything that frightens us is, in its deepest essence, something helpless that wants our love.
Aww. So those 5 people just wanted our love, not our money.
That's just interesting. All the individuals that we're looking at what we're losing don't see what we're gaining. So keep an open mind, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that little notification button at the bottom of the screen. Thanks for joining us here on
Crypto Cosm.